Hey, friends. Before we begin, I want to invite you into stillness. Just for a moment, just take a pause with me. One deep breath in and a slow breath out. Because this conversation isn't casual. This is one of those questions that only rises when life has flipped your world upside down. This is Rosabel Unscripted, where courage meets healing. And today, we're going to be talking about what it really takes to trust yourself again when life shifts in ways you didn't choose, you didn't expect, and you didn't feel ready for. So let's begin. So, you and I, we both know there are moments in our lives, our story, where life just stops asking politely. It stops knocking. It kicks the door in. Let's say a job you thought was secure vanishes, a relationship you invested years into gone, your health shaken, your identity suddenly unfamiliar. And sometimes the shift is loud and chaotic. Sometimes it's quiet, like walking up one day and realizing you don't recognize the person you've been pretending to be. And in that disruption, you don't just lose stability, you lose trust in yourself. You start asking, how did I let this happen? Was I blind? Did I ignore the signs? Why didn't I know better? But here's the truth, most people never say it out loud. Life doesn't fall apart because you're weak. It falls apart because you're outgrown something you were never meant to stay in forever. Look at Oprah, for example. She was fired from her job at 23. She was told that she didn't belong on TV. Guess that moment wasn't a failure. It was redirection. It was life saying, hey, you're playing small and you don't know it yet. Look at Steve Jobs. He was fired from his own company, publicly humiliated, stripped of everything he built. And yet, later he said it was the best thing that ever happened to him because it forced him back into creativity, back into curiosity, back into himself. And sometimes that collapse is not the end. It's an invitation to back to who you really are. So when the unexpected happens, you don't just lose a thing. I mean, you lose the future perhaps you were planning in your head. You might lose the house that you imagined living in, the partner you thought you grow old with, the career you expected to have or to advance in, the version of you that felt predictable. You're not just grieving the event, you're grieving the map, the timeline, the life narrative that suddenly evaporated. And let me tell you, grieving a future, it is one of the most invisible, misunderstood, and emotional heavy forms of griefs. Brené Brown, she's right. She said, you cannot heal what you will not acknowledge. You cannot rebuild self trust if you pretend the loss didn't hurt you. You can jump into strength while skipping over the morning. You could, I don't know, let's say you say, well, I'm strong. This doesn't bother me. But how about let yourself say, I am grieving the life I thought I have. I am grieving the version of myself that didn't know this pain. I am grieving the clarity I used to feel. This doesn't make you dramatic. It makes you honest. Honesty is the soil self trust grows from. When your life shakes, your inner world turns into noise. Fear gets loud, shame gets loud, doubt gets loud, everything is loud. I mean, everyone else's opinions get loud. And your voice, that small, steady voice inside, gets weary. You don't rebuild self trust by jumping into huge decisions or reinventing your whole life overnight. You rebuild it by listening for the smallest signals inside of you and honoring it. Think about Serena Williams, for example, after her childbirth complications. Her body changed, her career was uncertain, her identity shifting, but she didn't rebuild by forcing herself back into her old strength. She rebuilt by listening to tiny cues. What feels right in my body today? What pace can I actually handle? Where is my intuition pointing right now? Self trust is not built through grand gestures, it's built through micro honesty. It sounds like, yes, I'm exhausted. I need rest. I don't want to say yes, so I will say no. I feel tension. around that person and I will create space. This situation feels off. I'll pause. Micro honesty becomes macro trust. Self trust is rebuilt one tiny trust at a time. Unexpected change makes us create a villain, and that villain is always ourselves. Yes, we replayed every moment in our head, every choice, every red flag, every instinct we ignore, and we weaponize inside against the version of ourselves who did the best they could with the information they had. J.K. Rowling once believed she had failed on an epic scale. 12 publishers rejected her. She was unemployed. She was struggling as a single mother. Of course, she questioned everything, but later she said, rock bottom became the solid foundation I rebuilt my life on. Because she rewrote the story, not a story of failure, but of a woman being stripped down to her most essential truth. So she could rise in a way that she never imagined. So rewrite your story, not with fantasy, but with clarity. Not with blame, but with wisdom. You can tell yourself, I didn't fail, I evolved. I didn't miss the signs, I grew the situation. I didn't ruin my life, I am being rerouted. You stop being the villain of your own story and you start being the author because self trust cannot return. If your nervous system feels unsafe, your mind can say, I am fine. Your body says, no, we're not. Then you're having chest tightness, your stomach drops, your sleep becomes restless, your decisions feel shaky. Let me tell you, Michael Phelps, he talked about how he lost trust in himself during depression. What saved him was not motivation or willpower. It was reconnecting with his body through breath, rhythm, and grounding. Try this right now. Place your hand on your chest. Take one slow breath. Do it right now. Feel your heartbeat. Feel your feet. Relax your jaw. Settle your shoulders. Tell your body, I am here. I am listening. You are safe. Because when your nervous system calms, your intuition becomes audible again. And when intuition becomes audible, self-trust becomes possible. When your inner world feels shaky, the voices around you become powerful. Some people will amplify your fear. Others will amplify your doubts. And a very rare kind will amplify your truth. These are the people who remind you of your strength when you forget it. Think about Viola Davis, how her mentors and peers reflected a truth to her that she couldn't yet see. There was no flattery, not ego, but grounding truth. Think about Sheryl Sandberg, who lost her husband unexpectedly and described how her friends became her scaffolding. Temporary support while she rebuilt her own internal structure. Find your scaffolding. People who speak life into you. People who don't let you shrink. People who know you beyond your current pain. People who hold your name with care, not criticism. Self-trust grows faster when you're not rebuilding alone. Let's talk about afterlife shifts. Your brain craves certainty. I have to get it right. I can't afford another mistake. I need the perfect plan, and I need it now. But perfectionism is a prison. It paralyzes you. It keeps you analyzing instead of acting. Anna Quinlan said, you'll do the thing that's right for you once you stop trying to make it perfect. Your next step does not need to be perfect. It needs to be honest. Self-trust is built by doing the next right thing. Not the perfect thing. One decision, one baby step. One act of courage. You don't have to trust the whole plan. You only have to trust the next step your soul is whispering. Self-trust isn't emotional, it's experiential. You trust yourself because you've seen yourself show up again and again. You trust yourself because you survived what you thought would break you. You trust yourself because you kept going on days you didn't know how. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he lost his football dream and said he felt completely broken. He didn't trust himself at all. And he rebuilt his identity through consistency, training, showing up, learning, reinventing. Every time you follow through on something small, you're teaching your brain, I am reliable, I am capable, I can count on myself. Consistency creates evidence. Evidence creates confidence. Confidence creates trust. Here's the part that most people skip. When life shifts unexpectedly, you do not return to the old version of yourself. You're not supposed to. Life is not trying to send you backwards. Life is trying to evolve you. Think about Nelson Mandela. He went into prison, one man, and came out another. His transformation wasn't a result of comfort. It was a result of endurance, reflection, inner truth. Maybe your unexpected shift has changed you too. Maybe you're softer now, or stronger, wiser, more awake, more discerning, more aligned with what you actually want, instead of what you were taught to want. Self trust doesn't come from going back to who you used to be, it comes from accepting, respecting, and honoring who you're becoming. Let yourself outgrow your old identity. Let yourself upgrade your boundaries. Let yourself evolve. You're not who you were. We imagine self-trust as a lightning bolt, a big moment where clarity hits and everything finally makes sense. A real self-trust? That's much quieter. It sounds like, I don't know what's next, but I trust myself to face it. It sounds like, I trust myself to choose again. I trust myself to rebuild. I trust myself to listen to the wisdom I didn't have before. Self-trust is not perfection, it's presence. It's not certainty, it's capacity. It's not arrogance, it's self-respect. It's the understanding that I am not the same person who made those old decisions. I am the person who survived their consequences and grew from them, and that is enough. Before we close, I want to leave you with this truth. You're not lost, you're not broken, you're not behind. You are becoming, you are rebuilding, you are asking deeper questions. You are learning to heal yourself again. You are reconnecting with your own wisdom, and that is what healing looks like. If this talk reached you, share with someone who might need it today. And if you want more spaces like this, space for courage, compassion, and truth, I love for you to join me again. This is Rosabel Unscripted, where courage meets healing. So until next time. Hi everyone. As a neurology nurse practitioner, I've seen how overwhelming health information can be. Between medical jargon, online noise, and conflicting advice, people often feel lost. That's why I created Rosabelievers, to make brain and health education simple, approachable, and empowering. Inside this membership area, you'll find practical tools like the Resource Center, where you can download free guides, forms, and worksheets that help you track your health and better understand your body. You'll also find exclusive content where I share insights about brain function, stress, migraines, memory, and many other topics, all explained in everyday language. And one of the most meaningful parts of Rosabelievers is our Facebook community. This space was built so that subscribers can connect, communicate, and learn from each other. Here's where you can ask questions, share your progress, support each other, and be part of real conversations about brain health, self-care, and personal growth. Because while learning is important, community is what keeps us motivated and reminds us that we're not alone.